Okay, so today we're going to be installing these two lights here. So I'll put that light up there and then the security light. So I'm going to show you where it's going to go. So the security light, I'll put it right there. And then the other light, I'm replacing that white one there with that other one I just showed you guys. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So these are some of the tools you might need. So I got my fluke meter here to check for power, or you can always use one of these. This checks for power as well. You just turn it on here, lights up. It lights red if it's got power in it, or it lights green if it's got no power. And it goes up to 600 volts. Okay, so it's a pretty good little tool if you don't have a meter like this. And then we got our wire strippers, and we got our cord cutter here as well. It's a neat little tool I just bought, and it's to be cutting this cord here that I'm using for the security light. And I got my bits here to be cutting holes in the wood when I put in the cord. And then of course the drill, and I'll be using my insulated screwdrivers. These are good for if you're ever working on the live wire, which you shouldn't, but if you're not sure if it's got power or not, you want to use an insulated tool, which instead of the current going straight to you when you're holding it, this is insulated, so it'll go straight to the screwdriver. So these are the tools I'm going to be using today, so let's get to it. So before you get started, you want to make sure the switch is off. Then I'll be checking for power if it's got no power. If you want to be extra safe, you want to check for the breaker and shut off the breaker. But since it's daytime, nobody's going to be messing with this switch. Everybody knows not to mess with this, but if you're working around, you got kids or something, or if you feel somebody's going to turn on the switch on you, then you want to make sure that you shut off the breaker. So you'd have to find a breaker for this specific switch. But for me, I'm just going to shut off the switch and I'm going to check for power. Okay, so first we're going to take out this light here. We're going to do the screws. Little leash or little collar. So we'll do the screws. I'm not going to use the handy dandy little voltage reader here. So it's not lighting up, it's showing green. Like I said, green means go. So that means there's no power here. So I'm going to start undoing the wires. And there's different types of these little pens here that some of them beep, but this one just lights up. So since it's green, I'm good to go. Okay, so we got the exposed wire here. I was wondering why I had 4 different wire nuts on there. So they added this little cable here because the hot wire, which is the black wire, was too short. So they added this little wire to it to make it longer. And I'm showing you this here because I'm gonna have to drill a hole around here with my bit here. It's a 3/8 bit. I'm gonna drill a hole from here and then drill another hole here so I can run my cable for the security light. There's no real way I can get to it, so I want to try to do it from the inside out. So I'm gonna run the whole cable through here, boom, 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 and leave a end sticking out here so I can connect it to this. So for now, that's what I'm gonna be working on. I'll be drilling the hole, drill a hole here, and then run the cable out. Okay, so these are my 2 holes for the cable. So I cut it here, and I made a hole there. So this would be kind of difficult to get the wire in there. So what I'm gonna do is use this wire hanger here, and I'm gonna tape the end of the cord there and try to run it through there to see if I can get it in there a little bit easier. So that's what I'll be doing right now. Okay, so after fighting with it for about 10 minutes, I finally got it through. So there's a wire hanger. I had to make the hole way bigger, and I had to make this hole bigger than I wanted it to. but I can put something on there to cover that hole eventually. But for now, at least we got the cable through, which is good. And I needed my needle nose pliers, so that's what I used to pull it through. So far so good. So now we get to the fun part where I get to use my little tool here. So how I use this is you push up on this here. There's the little cutter blade there. And then you put in the cable there. And then once you let it go, boom. And then you just turn it. Turn it clockwise. And then once you're done turning, okay, so now I got my cutter here. So I'm gonna be turning it. Keep turning it, turning it, turning it. And then you stop. And then you slide, you leave it on there, you slide it. And you pull it out, and then it cuts the whole wire.
So you guys are talking shit.
Okay, so I'll put my cutter on here, put it to where you want it, and you just turn it clockwise. Keep turning so it cuts through, and then you leave it on there and you slip it. And you just open it up. So you might have to cut it a little bit more, but did a pretty good job. Okay, so what you want to look out for is make sure you don't slit your cable, so your wire. So that's kind of what I did. So you want to make sure that this baby here, the blade is not out too much, too far out. And then here's the adjustment on it. You can make it longer or shorter to adjust it to the cable you're cutting. So mine was out a little bit too far, so it cut through the wire, so I had to redo it, but it's looking good so far. Now I just gotta strip it with the wire stripper, and then connect my my lamp to it, and then eventually I can put up my security light. Okay, so the wiring is pretty straightforward. You go white with white, black with black, and the copper wire with the ground, which is green usually. And the hot is usually always black or red. Your common, or also known as your neutral, it's always usually white. Okay, so I already got the ground and the hot wire connected already. Just want to show you guys. Make sure you get the wire up here, dude. So I'm putting the wires here together. And here's your wire nut. You want to make sure you twist it enough times where you feel it kind of grabbing on. Make sure you have enough pull on it, and then you kind of pull on the wires a little bit. Make sure they don't come out, and that ensures you have a good connection. So all my wires are connected. I can put this baby up just like this, and then I can move on to the security light. So it's working. So far, I drilled a bunch of holes to run the cable through, and then put the light over here. Then right here, that cable that's hanging on, go ahead, staple it up there so it won't look too bad. Okay, so now that I ran all the cable through, here's the end of it, and I installed this little conduit box here. This is where my security light's gonna go. You need one of these if you're gonna mount it. And I'll put my cable through here. Got one of these little babies, cable holder. And as soon as it goes in there, I'll put the cable through, and then I'll start wiring in my light. Okay, so this particular security light that I ordered from Costco. So here's the little bracket. You can put the bracket in between here, and then you got your plate for the actual security light, and then your wires go in there. It tells you where the wires go, black, white, and your ground. And then it has the arrow pointing up, so this side's gonna go up. And then once it's wired in, you just clip on your headlamp here, and then make sure you put in the screw in the middle to hold this in place. Then once you got that going, you put in your lamp, and then you make sure you silicone it in the back of it so it can so no water goes in there, and then you're good to go. So like I said, this is from Costco, and I'll show you guys once I put it up. Oh, and yes, you're gonna need one of these tiny little screwdrivers to tie in the wire, because it's pretty small. So make sure you get one of these little, usually the handy's out at work and stuff. So if you got one of these, you're good. So there it is, ladies and gents. Got your black, your white, and your ground. Okay, and then make sure you put in your cable through that hole there so it can close right. Then you put that screw in the middle and it holds it in place, and then now we just put the headlamp here and we should be good to go. Now I don't know if you can tell, but it is lit. It is turned on, so it is good. But it does fit a little loose on there, so I think that's why they also recommend. See, it just came off. See, it sits in there kind of loose, so I think that's why they also recommend to put the silicone in there so it can hold it in place, because it's kind of hard to kind of make it stay. But that's it, guys. There's the security light. There's our outside lamp out there. There's a cable running through. It comes all the way out here, hooked up right there. So I hope you liked the video. You stayed all the way through. So like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And until next time, man, be blessed.